I'm gonna give you 5 tips so that you can learn how to maintain a diet and get lean, and we're gonna start right now. What's up everybody, it's Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com, and if this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in becoming a better athlete, you wanna lean out, you wanna be more athletic, you wanna be more explosive, make sure that you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell so we can help you get on those lean gains. So a lot of people ask us, what can we do to try and maintain a diet and maintain that lean body mass? A lot of people want to cut weight. They want to lose weight, but then we end up yo-yoing back up. We'll gain weight again, and then we go through this endless cycle of gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. What do we have to think about when we go back to that? If we can think about, it comes down to calories in versus calories out. So we've got to think about all of this food that we're consuming tends to come back to, if I'm eating more calories than I'm burning, I'm going to gain some fat mass potentially. I will gain muscle mass just as much, but it goes back to that balancing that seesaw, right? So if we can maintain calories in, calories out, so whatever we're consuming versus whatever we're actually burning, now we can maintain that lean muscle mass. And if we want to cut weight, we can then see, all right, if we cut how many calories we're consuming and we're burning a lot more, we're in a surplus of burn, well now all of a sudden, we're going to continue to get leaner. So what makes a diet or a meal plan unsustainable is that if we cut our calories quite a bit and we're utilizing food that tends to be bland or it tends to be lower in calories, and then we slowly go back to a diet that is a little bit less restrictive and you can eat a little bit more, you can eat foods that taste better. Now, when foods tend to taste better, you tend to eat a little bit more. So that's really, really important. So one of the key games that you've got to play is, all right, what foods can I utilize if I want to lose weight and maintain that weight loss, right? So I weighed almost 300 pounds at one point, and I want to get down to 235, 240. For me to maintain that drop, I had to find foods that were going to help me maintain that nutritional intake that weren't going to be really, really high in calories. Okay, so let's use an example. If I'm overeating something like, let's say ketchup, and ketchup has 20 to 30 calories per serving, and I replace that with our first lean tip, our hot sauce, okay? So now we're sitting there going, hot sauce has 0 calories. And some old school bodybuilders will sit there and they'll say, oh, well, it might be high in sodium, or there's something from the vinegar that can actually upset your stomach. And that might be true. So one of those key factors is we've got our Louisiana Pure Crystal hot sauce, and this is something that you can utilize on a regular basis. This is when you can go through a diet, maybe you're making eggs, you're making rice, you're making potatoes, you're eating food that's gonna help you maintain that lean diet, but you wanna add some flavor. Well, now you can use your hot sauce over your ketchup. Now, one thing with that analogy is that ketchup's not overly high with calories, but if we're eating ketchup every single morning over a week versus our Crystal hot sauce, now all of a sudden we might be looking at a difference of 300 to 400 calories over a week. And I think that's a key concept. You've got to look at your caloric intake from a week perspective. It's not just one day, it's not the next day, it's not the next day. It's from that macro week perspective and how those calories add up throughout that entire week. So that first big tip, use Crystal hot sauce. It's gonna add some good flavor to your food. It's gonna help your food taste better without adding those extra calories. So getting into that second tip, we've got to think about how can we handle our gut. One of the biggest things that I learned when I actually went vegan for quite a while, for about 42 days, was that veganism works because it's so restrictive. It restricts you from specific types of food, right? But it also works because your consumption of fiber skyrockets. And based off the research of the Sonnenberg Institute or the Sonnenberg Lab at Stanford, if you're consuming higher levels of fiber, say 45 to 60 grams of fiber a day, your gut flora, your gut microbiome is actually gonna be a little bit healthier. It's gonna ferment foods a little bit more effectively. It's gonna help you digest foods and pull those micronutrients out of the food, so you're gonna stay a little bit healthier from a perspective of how your body utilizes and absorbs micronutrients from your food. So what can we do? We can use one of my favorite tricks, which is kimchi. Okay, so you can use kimchi, you can use kvass, you could use sauerkraut, any type of fermented food that's also high with fiber. Okay, and if you're talking about kimchi or sauerkraut, because we're using Napa cabbage or any type of cabbage, now you're gonna get the micronutrients from the cabbage because it's fermented, so we're gonna avoid the goitrogenic effect that might happen when you're eating cabbage that is not cooked or processed. But on top of that, you're gonna be feeding the bugs inside of your gut. If you can feed the bugs inside of your gut, your microbiome gets a little bit healthier. And then when you do consume meat or protein of any source, now your body gets a little bit more effective at absorbing those micronutrients and macronutrients and then utilizing that to recover and keep your inflammation lower. And that's a big key factor. So utilize kimchi, sauerkraut, anything along those lines, curtido, anything that's fermented, that's higher in fiber, and try to get your fiber intake up around 40 to 60 grams a day. Even if you're eating meat, that's gonna help you maintain a healthier gut, and over time you're gonna feel a lot healthier, and your gut flora is gonna be even healthier as well. Eat these products 2, 3, 4 days a week, and that's gonna really, really help you keep your calories lower, add spice to your food, and also feed your gut microbiome. Okay, so another key to losing weight is trying to figure out what you're gonna utilize to replace milk. So I love drinking raw milk. We drink raw milk all the time. I drink close to a gallon a day, but what my wife figured out was, okay, we can actually make cashew milk. Cashew milk's got about 1/3 to half the amount of calories, and that's a key factor, is that if we're talking about weight loss, we've got to cut those calories. So if I can cut half of my calories from milk, but still have milk when I'm having my protein, or have milk when I'm having, you know, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever it might be, I've got my cashew milk, and so that's going to be the replacement. And what we do is, Caitlin actually will soak cashews in here for about 6 hours, and then after we soak the cashews for 6 hours, we strain them here. We're going to pour them into the Vitamix. Hopefully we don't get too many cashews all over the place. Okay, we're going to have 2 cups of water, or 2 cups of water here. We're going to come back, fill up 2 more cups of water, so we're adding 4 cups of water to the cashews. Okay, little pinch of sea salt, a large pinch, little splash of vanilla for flavor, just a little bit there. Okay, that should be enough. Let's do a little more. No calories in this either. Okay, this is simply organic, non-alcoholic flavoring. And then I will add a little bit more flavor. Now, if I'm cutting really, really hard, I won't put in maple syrup. But if I'm not cutting too hard and I just want to cut a little bit of calories, we got 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So that's going to add, that could add, you know, 30, 40 more calories to the entire thing. It's not a ton. But the big key here is, if you consume a lot of milk and you need to cut weight, that's where cashew milk comes into play. Okay, so we have it on high, it's all plugged in. "60 seconds later of blending, we have our cashew milk. I'll even pour a little bit out. And it is actually tasty. Like, sometimes I think almond milk tastes like crap. I actually like cashew milk, and if you use the like the frothy part as cream for your coffee, if you're trying to cut out calories from cream, this is a good spot. And cashew milk is higher with vitamin D than even skim milk. So if you're trying to replace dairy, cashew milk's a good way to go. It's one of those key tips, one of those key tricks that you can utilize to cut calories without losing that good flavor. Now, another key factor behind failing to maintain that lean diet is that a lot of guys, a lot of women, they like to have something that's carbonated. They like to have something like a soda, right? And what ends up happening is we'll get off soda for a month or two, and then we'll slowly bring in diet sodas. So we'll be drinking Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, anything along these lines. But then over time, you just want the real Coke or the real Pepsi. And you're sitting there going like, I can't abstain from having 160 calories of a Coke because it tastes so good. And that's what ends up packing on that weight over time. So you just slowly drift back into your old habits. But that's where Zevia comes in, okay? So Zevia is a soda, it's a carbonated soda. It has 0 calories, and you can utilize grape. They've got ginger root beer, which is phenomenal. They have cream soda, they have orange, they have grapefruit. Their taste is phenomenal, and you don't even have to use Zevia. You could use seltzer water that's flavored, but it ends up giving you a long-term replacement for soda, okay? Everybody likes holding a can, popping open that carbonated water, tasting a little bit of that bite, okay? They even have cherry cola, they have normal cola. So utilize Zevia to completely erase the calories that you would get from soda. Let's say that you consume 1 Coke a day. That's 160 calories every single day. That adds up over a week. Now, we replace that with Zevia, and by the end of the week, we might lose 1 to 2 pounds just from consuming Zevia instead of Coca-Cola. That would happen in 1 week if we did just that and didn't change anything else about our diet. So utilize Zevia. It's a really, really good replacement, and also it's healthier. There's less crap in it. There's less food coloring. There's less high fructose corn syrup. It's less addictive, and it's gonna help you maintain those lean gains. Now, finally, that one key factor that everybody has to do if they want to maintain lean gains, if they want to maintain their lean muscle mass. Over time, you might be able to add this back into your nutrition, but for a longer period of time, you have to avoid nut butters, okay? You have to. It's horrible. Yes, it's terrible. Peanut butter tastes extremely good. Cashew butter tastes extremely good. Almond butter tastes extremely good. But one of the key downfalls is that first, people believe that this should be considered a protein, and it should not be considered a protein. This should be considered a fat. So if we have a nut butter, like peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, macadamia nut butter, whatever it is, we should look at it and view it through the light of being a fat. Okay, so first of all, consider it a fat inside of your meal plans. So one of the problems is that just from 2 tablespoons, you're getting 190 calories just from 2 tablespoons. Okay, and that adds up quick. It tastes really, really good. And if we could remember back to the beginning when we're talking about what's one of those issues, is that you tend to overeat things that taste really good. That's why people will overeat pizza. That's why they overeat sodas. That's why they overeat nut butters, because they taste very, very good. Now I have 4 tablespoons and I'm sitting at around 400 calories. Do that for 7 days out of a week. That's a ton of calories. Now you take this and you just completely ignore it. And maybe after 2 to 3 months of not having nut butter, you have 1 tablespoon every other day. That's perfectly fine. But one of those key factors that you can utilize today is just completely eliminate nut butters. Sit there and say, all right, I'm not gonna have nut butter for the next week. If you do nothing else, just like with the Zevia situation, you will end up losing 2 to 3 pounds just from cutting out nut butters for an entire week. So utilize these 5 tips. Take these today, go home, figure out, all right, I can have Zevia replace Coke, and I can have the nut butters taken out of my meal plan. Now you've got that 400 calorie deficit, and a 400 calorie deficit throughout a week is gonna lead to about a pound of weight loss immediately. So you can take these tricks, you can use them and apply them directly today. And if you want more help with your nutrition planning, click on the link down below. You can head over to garagestrength.com and you can pick up our high performance nutrition plan. If you want more content around nutrition and how to cut weight, click on this card right here. Until next time, guys, peace.